location. So, rolling terrain, mostly when you speak about Hajar Mountain, this is like a terminology uses for rock formation with elevation ranges from 400 to 750 meters. A quick visualization of the project. All right. So that's the overview, but another overview, actual view that I have been, nandun ako during that time. And I asked my colleague na i-video ako para makita lang yung background ng area na formation ng colluvial deposits. So ito yung geological setting. Mostly the rock formation or the geology comprises the semi-ophiolite complex. And the geological materials are mostly dunite, Harzburgite, and bleached Harzburgite. So yung mga terminologies na to are used by geologists, but in simple term, these are igneous rocks. So during the project execution, makikita mo yung olivine grain materials dun sa rocks. So kala mo emeralds pero ano siya, dunite siya. Just an overview of the geological setting as well. Like the Philippines, the United Arab Emirates are located within the regional structure of, as I mentioned earlier, semi-ophiolite. So, UAE is bounded by, in the north is the Eurasian plate, and in the southeast, the Arabian plate. So, imagine the movement. But the good thing about this sphere, the United Arab Emirates are situated in the northern part of the UAE, is the body of water. And on the south, yung Saudi Arabia. But the Hajar Mountain was formed due to the movement of the two places, the Eurasian and the Arabian plate. The geological site condition or description of the materials, it's ranging between strong to very strong. The fracturing is from 1 to 2. It is medium to thickly jointed and blocky with 3 plus R discontinuity sets. Gray to dark gray, medium gray, and the geological name, dunite, Harzburgite. And the joining field varies, but commonly includes serpentinite, and calcite, which is typically slick and sided. So pag hinawakan mo siya, smooth siya, parang quartz, na maganda tingnan kapag nag-reflect yung sunlight. But the disadvantage of that is kapag nagkaroon ng mga planar failure. During the execution of the project, I was one of the tunnel engineering geologists. I established design parameters. I planned the geotechnical investigations and in-situ testing. I carried out geological mapping, the structural geology. So, if you imagine how the geologists perform the task, they go out and then do some measurements of the discontinuities and fractures on the rock. I did that as well. I carried out design analysis for tunnel and rock support system. These were the time when I was still younger. I have still, that's me, still a lot of hair on my head. And now it's all done. So, how do we characterize the rock mass? So during that time, as a geotechnical engineer, one of my duty is to determine the geological formation and to characterize the rock mass. One is the geological and background information. So these are basic principles, like typical projects. When you start a project, you look for geotechnical investigation. Like Father Nan said earlier, there was a mistake or error in the geotechnical information where they encountered during the execution the underground river. And maybe you would also agree with me, geotechnical engineering is not an exact science, neither geology. Yung pag nagbutas tayo, or the other term that we use, my favorite term when I was practicing this is the penetration. When you do standard penetration testing, you normally space them like for horizontal development, the spacing between boreholes ranges from, as per British standard, is like 50 or 20 meters to 200 meters. But imagine if you have more than 100 kilometers of road and tunnels, you cannot do 200 meters borehole spacing. So you tendency is to locate location where you can access the area to set up your rig and then do drilling. So in between those, you can perform geophysical survey. Or usually we have the common geophysical survey, surface geophysical survey is MSW. But MSW, or multi-analysis surface rate, is only 20 to 25 meters acquisition. But the deeper one, we can use seismic refraction or micro tremor surface geophysics. So you can have a deeper penetration of data acquisition. When I do rock mass characterization, I also do the variability of measured values and other relevant information from existing information or as-built data. Sometimes pinapag-design ka na ng client or preliminary design pero wala kang ground investigation. So what do? You base your assessment from available data. Kahit malayo yung geotechnical investigation information na yun, you will be forced to use those available information just to establish initial or concept design. Sometimes the design requirement is for you to deliver the project initial design, pero wala pang ground investigation na specific to the project. We do that sometimes, but we can explain the limitations of those design to the client, that they would be aware, so that they would be aware that the information is initial and the requirement to carry out specific ground investigation is essential and important. The extent of the field and laboratory investigation depends on the accuracy of the data and the type and number of samples that you will be performing. The extent of soil and ground governing the behavior of the geotechnical structure at the latent state being considered. And last one is the ability of the geotechnical structure to transfer loads. Rule of thumb as an estimate. When you want to determine bearing capacity of the ground, ground.
Papalit ng ano.
Paano mo in-estimate yun? Doc Carr can also support me on this. Kapag nasa site ka, merong ongoing ground investigation. Di ba, may ginagamit sila na tinatawag yung standard penetration testing. So kapag tinanong mo kung ilan yung end values, sabihin sa'yo ng technician, 20. Mag-iisip ka, yung 20 end values ba is dense or medium dense? So kapag yung end values is, say, 20, tatanungin mo sa sarili mo, ilang kaya yung bearing capacity nito? As an estimate, pwede mong gamitin na multiply mo ng 10. So 10 times 20, you have 200 kilopascal bearing capacity. Pero estimate lang yun. Siyempre, yung iba't ibang level ng depth, iba't iba rin yung SPT values. But just to have an idea how much bearing capacity the specific ground during the investigation, para meron ka ng idea. And then, when you are on site, na-visit mo sila, yung ongoing training, you would also check kung ano yung nare-retrieve nila sa ground. Kapag nakita mo na merong play, paano mo siya malalaman kung play siya, di ba? As a practice, as a engineer, familiar din tayo dapat kung paano estimate kung play ba siya or soil or sand. So kapag hinawakan mo siya, kuha ka ng sample, winat mo, in-roll mo sa kamay mo, kapag naka-form ka ng stick, play siya. Pero kapag hindi, sand. So, yun yung mga simple assessment on how to determine the ground. Kapag cohesive yung material, gusto mong estimate yung bearing capacity nun. So, malalaman mo kung, halimbawa, meron kang SU na 50. I-multiply mo siya ng 2, yun yung bearing capacity. As an estimate lang. Pero, we usually find sa site investigation na combination ng silt at saka clay or silt and sand. Most of the time, yung silt, hindi mo ma-determine kung clay ba siya o hindi. And imagine mo yung silt, hindi mo makikita sa naked eye mo. So, you need to perform laboratory testing. That's why in geotechnical engineering, laboratory testing is also very important. These are the conditions influences design loads for tunnel line. Number 1, the rock cover thickness, intact rock and rock mass parameters, groundwater conditions. Later on in the part of my presentation, I'll show you an example how surface groundwater would affect your infrastructure project. Excavation, shape and size, strength, gain of concrete. And these are the design loads that we use in this project. The structure is designed to withstand the most onerous combinations of all unforeseeable loads and load combinations and tolerances. Rock blasting technique, of course, this one is important because in this project of ours, what we did is we do Nathan method. So it's a drill and blast. Unlike the one that Doc Paternal showed us earlier, it's a TPM. But for this project, we did rock blasting. The D of the rock, the disturbance factor, ground structure interaction during each stage of construction, seismic loads. As you are aware, in the UAE, low ang seismic activity. And most of the seismic event occurs in the northern part of the UAE, which crosses yung Arabian Peninsula, which is a body of water. So mostly ng mga seismic event ay nandun sa Iran. Kaya itong UAE, nasa low seismicity siya. Magnitude ranges, the highest, sometimes year 2000 is about magnitude of 4. And the intensity is 3. So typically the seismic parameters we use on this particular project is 0.1 for 50 years design life. And the client requested to extend it to 100 years. So the PGA that we use here during the analysis is 0.126 G. So it is low as compared to the Philippines. So we have primary stress stayed in the ground prior to tunneling and the support measure for each stage of construction. So I'll show you also the different types of classes, how to support the rock, tunnel portal and the tunnel itself, and the tolerances and the formation, and the explosion load. Though this one, the last one in the Philippines, in the practice of structural engineering, typically explosion load is not a practice. But for here, in the Middle East, we take note of this. Although hindi siya governed, but we calculate in the analysis part of the explosion load. The earth load, earth pressure effects, and specific rock mechanics analysis, rock mass load, earth field. So these different sketches shows these are no earth field, so the drainage pipe plug. That's the assessment and the loading application, considering the drainage pipe plug as well on the left-hand side of the tunnel geometry. So water load, drain tunnel and groundwater is drained using drainage elements to release water pressure behind the lining. Temporary loads, temporary construction loads, seismic loads, and explosion loads. And the explosion load that I'm referring to earlier is, we consider 100 kilopascal. A note considered in accordance with EN 1991-1, 2006, Action Structures Part 1 to 7, General Actions, Accidental Actions, Annex D, Explosion Road, and Rail Tunnel. So from this reference, you would take note that we seriously considered the explosion load as well. Some geotechnical parameters. If you have a long tunnel, when you do the assessment for geotechnical parameters and the design, you make it a point to analyze them by segment on the same geotechnical or geological conditions, so that the parameters that you will use in the design will be on the same ranges. As you can see here, the range of values for the GSI varies differently. With this one, highly weathered talus scree material. Scree material are those found in the surface of the rock formation. They are the loose accumulated materials that typically eroded from the toe to the toe of the mountain as gravel and boulders. And from this, you will see the UCS values ranges from 5 to 10 to 50 to 100. 50 to 100 MPa comprises gabbro and whorlite. So these are the in-use material. And the GSI values is 65 to 75. GSI values are the geological strength index. This has something to do with the rock quality designation. So from your recollection during the geotechnical engineering subjects that you might have, this GSI is typically known by geologists. But in the practice, during my practice, I became familiar with this GSI, and this purely or significantly affect the design parameters. In the tunnel design, we use softwares, digital softwares, computational softwares. In this case, the RS2 from one of the proprietary software, RS2. So you can see from here, this is 200 meters. So the ground cover from the soffit of the proposed tunnel is 200 to the surface of the rock formation. So imagine the ground cover, it's 200 meters, so it is adequately enough to safely carry out the drill and blast. What if the ground cover reduces to 5 meters? That should be crucial because during drilling and blasting, if it is only 5 meters overburden, it can easily be destroyed by the blasting. So that's why the blasting design also is being carried out. Hindi basta-basta na mag-load ka, mag-charge, sabog lahat yun kung mababa yung surface cover. So as I mentioned earlier, you have to do a segment of the analysis of your tunnel. So from this case, I have here 272 as the peak, 285 and 272. There are shallow cover from this side. And in the portal also is crucial. The opening of the tunnel entry and exit. So if you have shallow cover, what do we normally do in the design? We make sure that we provide sufficient support, rock bolts, and lattice girder as well, or steel ribs. So these are the ULS load combination, the ultimate limit state combination. So you have a variation of self-weight, mechanical and electrical discontinuities, a full rock load. So these are parameters just to show you a combination of load during the design assessment. Just like when you do carry out the building structural design, you do a combination of loading. And this is the service stability limit state load combination. As you can see, all of them are a factor of 1. So this is based on BSEN 1992. In the practice of geotechnical engineering in the rock formation, I do carry out geological mapping and I do measurement of discontinuities and fractures. So, hindi normal ito sa practice ng civil engineering, but mostly ginagawa ito ng geologists. But the geotechnical engineer, the good thing about us, we have a good background of soil mechanics, and if we improve on understanding rock formation, discontinuities, fractures of rocks, so those are easy to understand as you go on with the practice of the profession. When you do start a project, if you are going to do geological mapping, you do measurements and then you summarize all of them to form the stereographic projection. So from here, imagine how many measurements you will do. It will become like too much lines on the stereo nets. But you will have to consider only critical points or critical joints, those who will create rockfall, those who will create discontinuities that are dipping outside of the plane. Those are the fractures or discontinuities that you may consider to support, to provide rock bolts. So this is an example to illustrate tunnel support. So we have this table 1, advanced length, where you do the tunnel, drill and blast, and the allowances, convergence allowances. During tunneling, you install convergence instrumentation just to measure if there is any deformation on the ground or misalignment or changes on the surface of the tunnel. And this is just a tunnel section with an illustration of support system. So the support system varies according to the condition of the rock formation. This is an example how they do drill and blast. Just started the portal. As you can see from this is the tunnel portal. First, the preparation of the portal, and then two cut sections. In tunneling, into probe holing, there's an advanced drilling to determine the stiffness of the ground, the condition of what is ahead, so that when you do the tunneling, the drilling and blasting, you'll be able to estimate the charge load of the blast. So this is an example of the portal as well, the installation of the lattice girders, to make sure that you have adequate support on the tunnel portal. So this is the convergence zone and convergence monitoring points that I have mentioned earlier. In the tunnel, you install target prisons or convergence zone, so that during the tunnel operation, you will see triggered values. So you will gauge the critical zone that to inform you that there is something problematic on the section of your tunnel if it moves. This is an example of the DIFTA West Portal twin tunnel, and just an illustration of the section of the tunnel with the dimension. This is 13.6 meter wide with a 9.3 meter high tunnel opening. So just to zoom in of how the tunnel mining is like this one here, 325 thick concrete permanent line. So when you do the drill and blast, drill, blast, and then clean the debris, and then apply shotcrete support and apply the rock wall. The difficulty is, as a geologist or geotechnical engineer, when you are assigned to do the mapping, to assess the condition of the rock formation, so that you would determine how much classification of the rock, because it corresponds to what support system or rock wall that you will install. Sometimes you cannot go further on the entry of the end of the blasting zone because of safety. And the technology now, it can help you do mapping even using a camera, like the so-called shape matrix. The shape matrix is just running through this surface of the ground, of the rock formation, the head of the tunnel, and then interpret it, and then you can check the discontinuities and deep direction of the rock, so that you can still do your design analysis, even though without doing the physical measurement. And that's a good thing about the technology. So this is just an example of rock mapping after drilling blast. So the Q rock tunneling quality designation index is the one that we use typically on during design assessment. And this is just the section, a different variation of ranges of Q values within the length of the tunnel. Another view of support class. In the support class, you have 1 to 5, and then you have shotcrete thickness, how much bolt length and spacing you will do accordingly. These are standards that we can use, but it depends on the assessment as well. We do prepare for wet mix shotcrete. This is just a snapshot of how we do shotcrete after drilling and blast. So installation of rock bolts. This is difficult when you have weak rock that potentially would fall into the workers. So that's why when you do drill and blast method, safety is really critical and crucial for that part. Another view of a tunnel ongoing with the shotcrete and rock bolt installed. It's nice to see when the shotcrete is applied and rock bolt installed, and when you are casting for concrete lining. This is part of the permanent structure. Along the road, when you do tunneling, you have to excavate. The profile of the ground would dictate how much expenses you would incur when you do excavation. And as a geotechnical engineer and as a geologist, engineering geologist, we have to design the profile in such a way the cuttings and the machineries and the installation of support would be efficient, which would not entail much cost to the client. So this is crucial because most of the time the discontinuities will not cooperate. Sometimes the discontinuities is dipping outside of the face. If it is okay, if it is like dipping inside the face. And the orientation of the discontinuity is whether plus or 20%. If the orientation is directly to the road, that's critical. So you have to apply rock support or fences and shotcrete. But some of the clients doesn't want to look like a very hard formation or concrete look like yung wall nila along the road. And some projects, they wanted to have like a naturally looking cutting. So that's why you can either do a pigment coloring on the shotcrete or put some vegetations on the slope. This is a finished product with shotcrete, with rock bolts and rock dowels, as well as fences. So the fences are there. So part of the support system is also we put fences. Kailan natin yung fences sa bahay lang natin, pero ginagamit din dito. Meron din bakod yung rock support. And wire net or wire mesh. Challenges, geological features, hydrogeology as well during rainfall. High mountain cuttings, high embankment, large cutting, safety during the works, the blasting and clearing debris, which I mentioned earlier, and the client's requirements. Client's requirements, sometimes they don't want to spend. They wanted to remove the requirement for shotcrete, but we cannot live without it. We cannot live without the support on the rock faces. As I mentioned, it depends on the condition of the rock formation. If you found fault line or shear zones on the rock, that will be also challenging. As a geotechnical engineer or geologist in the profession, we are also the one who always find fault, but faults on the rock, not on the mistakes of others. See, this is just a highlight of how we do rock slope assessment. This is the planar rock plane assessment. So it's not easy to do rock fall assessment because of too many factors being considered. That's why in the design, we allow rocks to fall on the road, like 2 to 5%, but not more than that. Because if you have more than like, in the Philippines, you have in the northern part, if you go to Baguio or what do you call that, Canyon Road, there are always sometimes rock fall on the road, so, and you will have, blockage, and the resiliency is also challenging. Like the one in the north during seismic activity. That's why it is important to assess and design rock support. So this is an example of surface runoff, which during the construction and design, we don't find any groundwater, but the surface water, because it's a rolling terrain, you will end up like you are in a river. So imagine this without the drainage and hydrogeology assessment that has been done. So just an high embankment analysis as well, rock slope. Lessons learned: spray applied membrane and permanent spray concrete are innovative solutions. Understanding hydrology conditions impact stability and design. There is always a close relationship between geology and structure. Changes in one will affect the other. Cracking of permanent linings is resolved when low shrinkage, shrinkage is used. Please take note of this. Dahil importante ito, it's very challenging kapag maraming cracks sa permanent lining. And then naturally, asbestos is an HSE issue. Recommendations: obtain good geological and hydrogeological data. Appropriate provisions of the ditch for rockfall. Provide sufficient assessment on their surface runoff and drainage overall to the project. Consider how structural loads affect and affected by the ground conditions. Communicate effects of geology and geotechnical operation to the clients. And keep up to date with design changes. Consider any impact and provide necessary feedback. Opportunities and threats for the profession, the specialization. There are large opportunities in MENA and Australia. Particularly in Australia now, there are too many design and construction work for tunneling projects. The threats, we have shortfall. So I encourage everyone, if you want to do geotechnical engineering, it's still open. We have very few geotechnical engineering practice, especially in the Philippines. So, if I'm not mistaken, President, we have very few geotech still in the Philippines. 34. Imagine 34 against number of civil engineers. So, you can still change your specialization. So, anyone who would like to change, talk to Doc Kari and President and myself. And Sir Ed, call me. Thank you. So.